Most older Americans think they're doing everything right, living modestly, saving carefully, avoiding debt. But somehow, their money keeps disappearing. Groceries cost more than last year, yet inflation is cooling. Healthcare covers less, but costs more. And every month, another automatic payment eats a little more of what's left. Here's the shocking part. This isn't bad luck or bad budgeting. It's a setup. A quiet, invisible system designed to drain older Americans dollar by dollar, while making them believe it's their fault. So, if you think saving more will fix it, it won't. Because the real reason their money is vanishing isn't in their wallets. It's hidden in the way America itself now handles aging, insurance, and debt. Stay tuned, because once you see how deep this goes, you'll never look at a retirement plan the same way again. And if you want to stay ahead of what's really happening to America's money, make sure you hit subscribe. We uncover the truth behind the numbers every single week. The illusion of stability. 10% shorter, sharper version. For years, older Americans were told one thing: play it safe, buy a home, pay it off, save in the bank, live within your means. That formula once worked, but not anymore. While everyone focused on spending less, the cost of existing kept climbing. Groceries, gas, property insurance, every essential crept higher, one quiet percentage at a time. Yet headlines insisted inflation was cooling. Here's the truth. Prices don't drop, they just rise slower. A cooling economy isn't a cheaper one, it's a costly one that stopped getting worse as quickly. For retirees on fixed incomes, that's like running a marathon with shrinking oxygen. Since 2020, costs are up over 20%, while Social Security increases covered barely half. Groceries surged double digits and never fell back. The 2025 COLA sounds helpful, but it's a cup of water on a house fire. And the cruel twist? Those who did everything right are now punished for it. Safe savings lose value. Rising property taxes and insurance swallow equity. Budgets break under essentials that keep outpacing income. Politicians call lower inflation progress. Advisors say cut back. But how do you cut back on medicine or heat? This isn't mismanagement, it's erosion, a slow drain stealing wealth through survival itself. And that's just the start. Because while inflation eats away at savings, another silent threat is about to hit. One no amount of budgeting can stop. The housing trap. Owning a home once meant freedom. Now it's a slow squeeze. Across the country, property taxes are climbing, insurance premiums are exploding, and maintenance costs are hitting levels no one planned for. Retirees who thought they'd made it now face bills that rival their old mortgage payments. Insurers in several states are backing out completely, calling coverage too risky. Those who remain are raising premiums by thousands. For many, the only way to afford it is to tap into home equity. Selling off their own safety, one withdrawal at a time. Renters aren't spared either. Rents are hitting record highs while benefits stay flat. 1 in 3 older Americans now spend over 30% of their income just to keep a roof overhead. Here's the paradox. The American dream was to own your home and feel secure. But today, ownership often means endless liability. You can't downsize fast enough, can't refinance affordably, and can't sell without losing value. So the home that once symbolized stability has turned into a financial anchor, dragging many into debt they can't escape. But even that doesn't compare to the next threat, the one that starts quietly, with a doctor's visit, and ends with savings wiped clean. The medication trap. It starts quietly. A refill here, a new prescription there. At first, it doesn't feel like much. $20, maybe $50. But then it's every month, then multiple medications, then the out-of-pocket maximum that somehow still costs thousands. Even after Medicare's 2025 redesign, the reality hasn't changed. The government capped yearly drug costs, yes, but that cap doesn't erase the climb. Drug prices keep rising faster than benefits, and the deductible itself keeps creeping upward. For many, what's left feels less like coverage and more like controlled bleeding. The cruel irony is that these aren't optional costs. No one can cut back on insulin or skip blood pressure pills or delay heart medication. These aren't lifestyle choices, they're survival requirements. Yet every refill becomes a moral dilemma: pay for pills or pay for food. Behind the scenes, pharmaceutical companies post record profits, while seniors quietly ration medicine to stretch their savings. It's a silent crisis that doesn't make headlines, because it happens one receipt at a time. People don't collapse overnight, they just slowly run out of room to live. And here's what makes it worse: every health issue increases dependency, more meds, more visits, more bills. A small prescription becomes a chronic cost. A temporary condition becomes permanent debt. The system was built to protect retirees from medical bankruptcy. But now, it's the very system pushing them toward it. And when the prescriptions stop being enough, when health turns into dependency, that's when the next financial nightmare begins. Because the real collapse doesn't start at the pharmacy. It starts when staying alive requires help that no insurance truly covers. The long-term care shock. No one plans for the day they can't take care of themselves. It starts with something small: a bad fall, a memory lapse, a hospital stay that doesn't end with a full recovery. Suddenly, independence fades, and with it, financial stability. Long-term care is the hidden crisis no one talks about until it's too late. The numbers are brutal. The average cost of assisted living in America has climbed to around $70,000 per year. A private nursing home room? Closer to $130,000, and both are rising faster than inflation, faster than wages, and much faster than the Social Security check that's supposed to cover it. Medicare, the safety net everyone assumes will protect them, doesn't pay for long-term custodial care. It only covers short-term recovery after hospital stays. That means, for most families, the bills arrive like a storm they never saw coming. Relentless, crushing, and without warning. Some drain their 401ks or sell the home they worked decades to pay off. Others burn through savings in months and turn to Medicaid, which often requires spending nearly everything before it even kicks in. In many cases, couples are forced to split assets just so one partner can qualify for help while the other stays afloat. The emotional cost is just as devastating. Watching a loved one fade is hard enough. Watching their life's savings vanish with them feels cruel beyond words. A lifetime of caution, of sacrifice, gone in the name of basic survival. And yet, the system calls this normal. Aging in America has become a financial minefield, one medical emergency away from collapse. But what happens when the savings run dry and the care costs keep coming? Most turn to the only thing left. The same trap nearly everyone swore they'd avoid: debt. The debt creep. Debt used to be something people paid off before retirement. Now, it's following them into it. For many older Americans, credit cards have quietly replaced savings accounts. What once covered emergencies now covers groceries, gas, and medical bills. The balance grows each month, not from reckless spending, but from the simple cost of staying alive. Since 2020, household debt among people over 65 has hit record highs. Credit card rates hover around 20%, and late fees pile up faster than most can pay them down. Even those who never missed a payment before are now falling behind. They're not buying luxuries. They're financing survival. The danger is how invisible it feels. Each swipe seems harmless, each statement manageable, but compound interest doesn't age kindly. The debt snowballs quietly until it consumes entire fixed incomes. Suddenly, a retiree who thought they were debt-free is paying hundreds each month just to tread water. Then comes the shame. Older Americans, once proud of their discipline, now hide the truth from family. They downplay bills, skip meals, delay medications, all to keep up appearances. Financial stress turns into silent anxiety, and anxiety into health decline. Meanwhile, the system keeps feeding the cycle. Credit offers flood mailboxes, promising relief through consolidation or new cards. The banks know exactly who's struggling, and they profit from every desperate click. But what happens when the debt ceiling hits a human limit? When the cards max out and there's nothing left to borrow against? That's when another darker threat steps in, one that doesn't just take your money, it takes everything. Because when financial fear meets vulnerability, scammers see an open door. The scam economy. Scammers have turned America's elderly into their favorite payday. It's not random, it's calculated. They know who answers the phone, who trusts official-sounding emails, who's worried about their bank balance or their grandkids. And they strike with precision. In 2024 alone, reported elder fraud losses hit $4.9 billion, a 43% jump in just 1 year. But that's only what's reported. Experts believe the real number is several times higher, buried in embarrassment and silence. The schemes have evolved far beyond the old Nigerian prince emails. Now they mimic banks, Medicare agents, and tech support desks. They use real names, real company logos, and even AI-generated voices that sound exactly like family members. A single convincing call can empty a savings account in minutes. But scams aren't just about theft. They're about manipulation. Many older adults are isolated, living alone, or desperate for a sense of connection. Scammers exploit that trust, pretending to care before turning the conversation toward money. By the time the victim realizes what's happening, the damage is done, and often irreversible. Banks and regulators promise protection, but reaction always lags behind innovation. For every scam shut down, 3 more appear online. Law enforcement calls it a cat and mouse game. The scammers just call it business. And the cruelest twist? Most victims never tell anyone. They fear judgment more than the loss itself. To admit being fooled feels like admitting failure. But these crimes don't just steal savings. They destroy confidence. Victims stop trusting emails, stop answering calls, stop believing in help. The financial system feels unsafe, and that fear spreads. And as more people retreat from digital life to protect themselves, they risk missing the real danger, the one that's been creeping closer for years. Because while scams steal quickly, the next threat drains wealth legally. It's not a con, it's a policy, the benefits time bomb. For decades, Social Security and Medicare were the bedrock of retirement, the promise that no matter what happened, you'd have enough to survive. But that promise is cracking, and quietly. The Social Security Trust Fund is projected to run dry by 2033. After that, incoming payroll taxes would only cover about 77% of scheduled benefits. Medicare's Hospital Insurance Fund faces the same deadline. Officials call it a shortfall. For retirees, it means one thing: less money, same bills. Yet most Americans don't realize how close that cliff really is. Politicians assure voters there's still time. But time isn't the problem, political will is. Every year of delay makes the math worse and the fixes harder. Meanwhile, older Americans are already feeling the squeeze. Rising premiums, smaller cost of living adjustments, and more out-of-pocket medical costs erode the stability these programs were designed to guarantee. The system that was meant to shield retirees from poverty is now quietly pushing them toward it. There's another psychological toll, too. People plan their entire futures around these benefits. How long they can stay in their homes, how much they can spend, when they can retire. But uncertainty breeds fear. So they spend less, work longer, and live smaller lives in the name of being safe. The cruel irony? That fear helps balance the system. Every dollar people don't spend delays the crash just a little longer. But the clock is ticking, and everyone knows it. So the question isn't if these safety nets will change, it's how suddenly. And when they do, millions will discover that the biggest threat to their money wasn't the market, or the scammers, or inflation. It was the belief that the system would never break, the quiet collapse. When you add it all up, the numbers don't lie. Prices that never rolled back, homes that cost more to keep than to buy, medications that drain savings, long-term care bills that erase them, debt, scams, and shrinking benefits, each one small on its own, but together they form the perfect financial storm. The result is a generation watching its security dissolve in slow motion. No crash, no headline, just the quiet math of survival. Every month, a few more dollars disappear until the savings that were meant to last decades can't even cover another year. And yet, it's not just about money, it's about dignity. Older Americans spent their lives building stability in a system that changed the rules without telling them. They didn't lose everything overnight. They were slowly priced out of their own lives. Still, there's a truth hidden in this story. If the problem was built by design, it can be changed by design. Policy can shift. Awareness can spread. Families can talk sooner, plan smarter, and demand better protection for the people who built the very economy, now bleeding them dry. So next time someone says older Americans should have saved more, remember this: they did. The system just moved the goalposts. And if you want to stay ahead of what's coming next, because this quiet collapse is only the beginning, make sure you hit subscribe. We break down the truth behind America's money every single week. Older Americans didn't fail the system failed them. Their savings didn't vanish overnight. They were taken bit by bit through inflation, debt, and policies that quietly rewrote the rules. If this continues, the next generation won't just worry about retirement. They'll wonder if it's even possible. So if you want to stay informed, stay prepared, and understand what's really happening to America's money, make sure you hit subscribe. Because the truth is getting harder to find and more important than ever.